Good evening, everybody. It's the 015 Sports Podcast. Jake and Cole last night, NBA Finals Game 5. Warriors won at home 104-94. The Celtics started out 0 for 12 from three-point range and really never consistently got going. In other news, the Bulls can offer Zach a lot of money. Dolphins, a little bit of drama down there in Miami. And the Cubs still god-awful.
Terrible.
So to start off, we'll talk about the Warriors, Game 5. Jake, you want to get them going?
Yeah, how about them Warriors? But yeah, I thought they would win this series. I think they got control now. I didn't think that there was any way that they would lose another game in that building. So, I mean, even if they lose Game 6, I don't see them losing a game at home. They play, like, incredible at home. But it just goes to show you that how good they are because Curry played like crap.
No threes.
No threes. Draymond played a little bit better. I mean, I think he had 8 and 8. And Jordan Poole had a good game. Wiggins had a good game. So you get
Gary Payton had a great game.
You get contributions from everybody, and you don't always need your star player to have 40 to win. And the Celtics couldn't hit the broadside of a barn yesterday.
And they shot 16 more free throws than the Warriors, and they
Still
only
lost.
made, was it 7? 8 more than the Warriors.
Yes.
And the Celtics bench had 10 points, and the Warriors bench had 21. But the Warriors bench had a lot more because Gary Payton and Jordan Poole played great. So.
Yeah, and how about Draymond Green and his antics? I mean, you almost want a player like that on your team because he gets in their head. He makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you can't stand when he's on a team that's not yours.
Yeah, well, and you don't like the technicals he gets, but because it gives the other team points, maybe, creates momentum going their way, but does all the dirty little things that just get another team's head, and, I mean, it works.
Yeah, I mean, you're not afraid of him shooting the ball because I don't know how many times I've seen him pass up layups, the same things that Ben Simmons got slandered for last year. But there's a lot of things that Draymond Green does that Ben Simmons doesn't, one of them being showing up to play basketball. As far as technical fouls go, the Celtics, they had 3 technicals last night, and the Warriors had 0. But there was one brutal call from the other night where Gary Payton, tripped over his own foot, and they called a foul.
What about the hit yesterday that they called the offensive foul on
In the first half?
No, did you watch the second half?
I fell asleep. Had to get up early.
I don't remember who did it, but it was one of the worst calls ever. It was an offensive foul. I can't remember, but he went like this with his hand to the guy's face, and it didn't even touch him, and he acted like he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And they called it, and you can see on the replay that he doesn't even touch him really.
Yeah. And that seems to happen a lot in the NBA.
Well, that's NBA. That's the officiating in NBA now. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Officiating was awful in yesterday's game.
I think it's been awful a lot. But
it's been awful the last probably 5 or 6 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't even stand watching it with how much they flop and get away with travels and whatnot. But, for Boston, it just really killed them was their free throws and their turnovers. I mean, the Warriors only turned over 6 times, and Boston turned it over 18 times. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown alone turned it over 9 times combined. And everybody's been talking about Jason Tatum this, Jason Tatum that. Well, he needs to show up because if he doesn't, they're going to go home and Curry's going to get finals MVP.
Do you remember after game 1 when they had that big quarter and they made how many threes?
Oh, in the fourth quarter?
They made what did they make? 7 or 8 threes?
Yeah, they made 7 or 8 in a row.
And I said, what happens when they don't make them?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the case last night. Any team can look like that.
In the Warriors, I mean, their best players. Well, I'm just talking about Curry, but he didn't even have his best game last night.
No.
And they still couldn't get it done. So I think this is over. Yeah. Warriors to win, as I projected, and I think you had them to win too in our earlier predictions. But in other news, been getting some rumors about Zach Lavine, and he's expected to come back to the Bulls.
Yeah, how exciting.
Yeah.
See red.
It'll be great for the Bulls. I expect the Bulls to offer him around that number there on the screen, 5 years, 212, super max. Pretty much everybody gets the super max now if you're one of the best players on the team. and that's $42 million more than any other team in the NBA can offer him. So, I mean, I would take $42 million more. So,
yeah, I just think the Bulls, it's about time they like show players that they're gonna want to keep them, because I mean they could have signed Jimmy Butler to a max,
probably should have.
and they didn't. I don't remember what that dealio was about, but look at what he's been doing. He's been tearing the league up. So I think it's a great idea to give Zach the max, have him come back with DeRozan. You're gonna have Lonzo Ball.
Hopefully, Lonzo's got all those knee issues. They're worried about him.
Well, he'll be all right to go next year. You're gonna have Caruso.
Hopefully, Williams takes a step. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how much longer we can wait.
he might be packaged away, and I know there's a lot of people that think he's safe, but you just don't know with him. So
Yeah,
if you can get an established player that's in their mid-20s, I pull the trigger on him. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trade him in a deal with Vucevic for Rudy Gobert, because Rudy Gobert is not really going to help you offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, he'll help you tremendously, but I wouldn't deal him with Vucevic for Rudy Gobert.
See,
and I read that they won't deal him with.
Yeah, they probably won't. I would, because I think Rudy Gobert brings you 12 points, 16 rebounds a game,
4 blocks.
But it's not. It's just the defensive presence that I care about, because that's what the Bulls couldn't play last year. And Vucevic doesn't have a clue what defense is. Probably can't even spell it because he don't play it.
Yeah, but Gobert would help you against a guy like Giannis.
Gobert has. I think he's a 4-time NBA All Defensive Team.
He's won Defensive Player a year or two.
I mean, I understand Vucevic can score 25. But when you're not playing defense, I'll take someone that scores 12 or 14, because it's not like Gobert can't score.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaged double figures, I think, his whole career. But it's everything else he does. And look at what they're going to have around him. DeRozan, Lavine, Caruso.
They're going to need more shooting.
Yeah, they're going to need more shooting, which they can get, because the Bulls should be able to sign Zach to the max, and they should be able to go out and do whatever they want to. They're the biggest market in the United States besides
New York.
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
So they should, just like the Cubs, we should never hear them say that they can't. And I like that that people think Zach's coming back, because he deserves it.
And I think he was going to all along. I think that was just a way
it was just to
for
get
them to kind of, get the Bulls
feel things out.
Yeah, and kind of make the Bulls feel more pressure to offer him this, which I totally understand why players deserve this amount of money. I can see why the Bulls were hesitant to offer him it, because he hasn't shown you that he's going to do it on both ends, and he hasn't shown you that, we watched him play with DeRozan, and obviously DeRozan was the better player than Lavine. But Lavine has a lot more things he can do, and he's younger.
Well, most people forget that Zach Lavine, probably after the All-Star break, even I think it was before the All-Star break, he got hurt. Not much before, but he played hurt the whole second half. Look at all these other players that aren't playing for stupid little reasons, because
bump on the knee,
or what's it called that they give him rest for, that LeBron used to rest for general soreness.
Yeah.
What even is that? Like general general soreness?
Yeah.
Well, Lavine played hurt all year, and like he did that because the Bulls were good. He knew they were going to make the playoffs. He's never been on a playoff team, but he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
He was making his money. So I think he deserves it, and I like that they're going to bring him back.
Yeah, and the Bulls are going in the right direction. They're going to have to do a lot to be a team that can compete for a title, because I think for at least the next 2 years, you've got your teams that are going to be there every year, which is going to be the Celtics, the Bucks, the Warriors, and I don't really know.
But I don't know
who else is going to be there.
I don't think the Celtics really have anybody that can stop Giannis either. You just have to outscore these teams, and I think
that's how you
if the
win
Bulls
games.
could get Gobert with that cast, I mean it's.
Well, Boston's young.
But Lavine's not old. Lonzo's not old. It's just you kind of need Lavine to play more like Tatum, and I know Tatum's bigger, but you kind of need Lavine to play more like Tatum, where he plays on the defensive end a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, the Bucks would have won that series if they had.
Because I think Lavine is just as gifted as a scorer as Tatum is, if not better, especially at getting to the rim. I think. I know Tatum's. I don't know that'd be a good debate.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, Tatum needs to show more, but Tatum has shown more than Lavine.
Yeah.
But he's made the playoffs every year of his career, and he's been to the finals now, the
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals numerous times.
Well, when you
But
play,
he has had a better supporting cast his whole career so
when
far.
you play on the Celtics and they help you out.
Yeah. So in other rumors, there's some stuff going on. Not really stuff going on in Miami, but just some drama a little bit. Jake, if you want to touch on that.
There's always drama in Miami. It's always gonna be like that. But so I got a text from probably 3 or 4 people yesterday that I didn't really know until I got the text that the Dolphins, so they say, offered Sean Payton a 4-year, $100 million deal. I mean, I've never even heard of such a thing.
For coaches.
For coaches. I mean, the highest paid coach in the NFL is Sean McVay, and he makes around 15 to 18 million a year. So Sean Payton would have been making 25. There's not even, I mean, I'm baffled that.
I'm surprised he turned it down. But there has always been a lot of rumors that Miami was going to sign, that they were going to have Sean McVay and that they were going to have Brady.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing happened there, and it never happened with, what went on with the owner.
Yeah,
and
either Sean Payton is just taking a break,
or he just wants to be done. Maybe he wants to be done.
Maybe he wants to be done, or maybe he doesn't believe in Tua. I mean, I don't know that would stop you from being the highest paid coach ever. I don't know if we'll ever see. Well, you might now.
You're probably going to see that at some point in our lives.
Considering that the Dolphins just offered him that. But, I mean, I like Mike McDaniel. I think you go with the younger guy. He seems to fit in.
Yeah. I don't agree with the one thing I saw about him with Tyreek Hill saying that it was okay to just leave practice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. That's probably not a good example to set. But who knows? I mean,
I think the difference is I think he's 38 or 39, and so he's around some of these players his age or a little older.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks by just letting them have freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this is going way off topic, but Phil Jackson let Dennis Rodman go to Vegas. I mean, and look at the Bulls won, and he just let Dennis Rodman do whatever. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I think if the players are okay, you got to make the players happy. It's not like it was in the 70s and 80s and even 90s and probably even 2000s. You can't just boss these guys around and think that they're not going to fight back, because they will.
It's the players' world,
and it's social media. And if you think they're not going to take it to social media, you better think again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
You have to avoid social media drama, because it's ruined. It's ruined a lot of things.
Yeah. And then the other thing, Tyreek Hill said that Patrick Mahomes, he can throw it farther than Tua, but Tua throws a better ball.
Yeah, I think
I haven't seen that. I think it's probably being blown out of proportion. But what are you supposed to say when you're playing for the guy now? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Adam saying the stuff about Carr being on the same level as Rodgers. There's no way.
Yeah, people, he's saying that just because it's his quarterback. I know there's stats out there that show that Tua was supposedly just as accurate, I think, if not more, not down the field, which is what you want. But, I mean, I like that he's backing him up. I mean, you got to give the guy confidence, and I believe in Tua. So,
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it comes here soon enough. I can't wait for some football. And
I think it's 89 or 88 days, because I just seen the Dolphins post 90, and I think that was a day or two ago.
Yeah. Just a little bit off topic, but the Packers, Alan Lazard signed his tender, so he's going to be playing on the Packers this year for just under $4 million a year. So that's good for the Packers. Great run blocker. He's been there
for a decent receiver.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You always hear his name.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, the Cubs, they still suck.
Yeah, they're just terrible. It's pathetic. It's a joke. It's a national disgrace. It's
7-game losing streak right now.
Everything. It's a civic embarrassment. It is You have Frank Schwindel pitching a 37-mile-an-hour goddamn fastball to who was it?
I don't know, but he got smothered.
Got smoked and hit out to left field. And
It looked like if me and you went the south side and I was lobbing you pitches in there.
I sat there and my jaw dropped because this is the major leagues. This is not the goddamn Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the Chicago Cubs, and they're playing like a AAA or AA team, and it's just pathetic and it's garbage.
They got embarrassed by the Yankees this weekend.
And that's
I'm surprised
fine.
you still had the game on.
And
it was
you know
18
what?
to 4.
A lot of teams are going to get embarrassed by the Yankees, and that's fine. But you don't lose 20-4, and you don't. We've had like four position players pitch this year. Like, it's just a joke. And a year ago today, I seen someone say that the Cubs were in first place. Since a year ago today, they're 59-100. I mean, make it make sense. Like, what happened? I mean,
That's a full season.
Almost. I mean, I understand people say what you want about the core. They weren't getting it done, whatever. We were never this bad with the core. And I'm not saying we should have kept the core. What I'm saying is the Chicago Cubs should never be 20 games under 500 and be just.
And the Cubs are hoping for a lot of things to go their way with, guys coming up from the minors. But we just saw the top prospect, get his
Brennan Davis,
the back surgery and stuff. So,
now what?
If they're going to want to be good, they're going to have to start spending money. And they're going to have to spend a lot of money on the right players because I'm sorry, but it's obvious that Stroman was a bad signing. Am I wrong? It seems like a bad signing so far.
He has had like 2 or 3. I think he's had one good game, and it was versus the Sox.
Who are bad.
Which I think, they are bad too. A
lot of people want La Russa canned.
They have a lot of – that's another can of worms we can get in. They have a little bit of an excuse on why they're bad. The Cubs have no excuse.
And Suzuki was playing great, and I'm not saying it's a bad signing, but he's hurt. So other than that, the Cubs are out there playing with Morel, who's been come up and basically the best player on the team next to Contreras. But
when you got teams like the San Diego Padres who have Eric Hosmer at first, Manny Machado at third, and Tatis at short, and then you got the Chicago Cubs who have Frank Schwindel at third, Patrick Wisdom at first,
or other way around.
Other way around, or Nick Madrigal at
he's bad
at second. I mean, that's not. They're not even on the same ball club.
Hayward,
and Hayward and Wright, who is batting like 200
maybe,
and hits the ball to the right side more than any player on the Cubs team all put together.
And I love Hayward, and I thank him for his service to Chicago Cubs and our fans.
This is not.
He's done.
This is not anything negative. Jason Hayward has done his stuff with the Cubs and has helped us out drastically. But he's got to go. It's time.
Yeah.
It's not producing. It's time.
And I haven't been to a Cubs game since 2019, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to a game this year.
Well, I think I've been to three or 4.
That's a low number for you.
Yeah, it's a low number. I still have I went to a Cub game last weekend, and it was the funnest time I've ever had at Wrigley Field. And going out, it's just.
It did look like you had a great time.
It's still the best time, and I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go all year. But when the Cubs are averaging 34,000 people at a game, and the San Diego Padres average like 17. There's no reason they should be outspending the Cubs. All these teams, like
California, though, but they're willing to do it. The Cubs haven't been shown that they're willing to do it, and it's the same thing.
It seems like the Cubs are scared to take a chance, and if it doesn't work out, all you can say is at least we tried. You can't say you tried this year because you signed Seiya Suzuki and Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna put you into World Series consideration.
No.
I tell you what, though, I love watching the Yankees play, and I think they're probably going to win it all this year. It might be the Mets and the Yankees in the World Series.
This might be a hot topic, but could this arguably be the greatest baseball team ever assembled? You go up and down the lineup. I mean, they've got potentially 6 hitters that can hit 30 home runs.
Yeah, and they're playing a smaller ballpark.
I mean, Gallo, Rizzo, Judge, Stanton.
Torres, ex-Cub, brief.
Yeah. Well, they've got about 3 ex-Cubs.
So what we did with the World Series off that trade. So.
We did, and we had the Cubs had a lot of good baseball, but man, The
It doesn't last forever,
the
but if you're a
Yankees and
Yankees
Dodgers
fan,
do it all. They do it every year.
Yeah, it does seem to last about
Now-
forever for them.
Now, we have as many World Series as both of those teams do in the last 10 years.
Okay.
We do. The Dodgers won a cupcake one, if we count it, and the Yankees won one.
I thought the Yankees won in 09, so they don't have one in the last 10.
Yeah. So, does it always lead to winning a World Series? No.
Hitting trash cans does, though.
I
Ask
would-
the Astros.
Yeah, I guess. I would rather win and lose in the playoffs than lose and get embarrassed all year, and that's what the Cubs do a lot. The Cubs have done that a lot in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But they've also had a lot of good years in my lifetime. We've seen
Recency bias, yeah.
we've seen about 9 playoff teams in our existence, and before we were born, our parents probably seen like 3 playoff teams in like 25 years. So, we've been lucky and fortunate, but it should be an every year occurrence.
Yep. Big market teams. Some big market teams spend, and you can see that sometimes it works, and most of the time it works if you're looking at the Yankees and the Dodgers. But the Cubs just don't seem to want to spend. It's evident. I can't believe you're a billionaire and as cheap as the Ricketts are.
Yeah.
But that's
And you're
none of my business.
And you're getting $200,000 a game in beer sales.
Yeah, well, I'd drink too if I had to watch some of that game.
$200,000 a game, roughly.
Yeah.
Maybe during the week when they're playing bad teams, not
That's a hell of a yearly salary. So
there are a lot of people that don't make that. Probably half the world.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Cubs still awful. Well, we'll have another episode for you guys next week. Jake, anything to add?
Cubs suck, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment below on other things you want us to talk about, and everybody have a great rest of your week.